Hello everyone, it's Carl from Accessibility Explored, and today I thought I would talk about the accessibility around Disneyland Paris. In previous videos I referred to our BERT rating. I have changed that slightly just so it encompasses more locations better. So it is now the BEAT rating, so it's only R that's changed. So we've got B for buildings, E for environment, A for attractions, and T for transport. So the A was originally an R for rides, but attractions works a little bit better, I think, in terms of encompassing more locations and not just theme parks, really. I've got my laptop ready, my screen is recording, so I'm going to wiggle my mouse. There we go. So this is a map of Disneyland Paris. We're going to start with a few things. So the last time we went was December 2018, and there has been a few changes since then. Some for the better, I believe. Looking through their website, some of the information for their guests with disabilities has changed and is more thorough now, I believe. So we're going to do a quick overview looking at what we can see here on the map at the moment. So here on the left hand side where my cursor is going around, where you see the number 174, that is Disneyland Park. So that is the main park with Cinderella Castle, and then down here just below it, with the 105 around it, is the Walt Disney Studio Parks. And then dotted around the place, so here we have the Disneyland Hotel, which looks over the park, the main park, which is a dream to stay there, really. And then here we have the Disney Village, where you've got food, shops, a bit of entertainment. One thing I will say at this point is Buffalo Bills, absolutely fantastic night if you can get tickets to go to that. Highly recommend it. Then we go over here, we've got New York, which is now marble themed. Opposite of New York, across the lake, we've got the Newport Bay Club, which obviously has a maritime theme. Here to the right hand side we have the Sequoia Lodge, where we stayed in December 2018. Down the road from there we have Hotel Santa Fe, which is Cars themed, which is the cheapest hotel on property as well. And then opposite that we have Hotel Cheyenne. Never stayed there, but it's Western themed. So the hotels I've stayed at are the Santa Fe and the Sequoia Lodge. Let's start with where we stayed then. So Sequoia Lodge, here we go. When we stayed there in 2018, we stayed in the main building. We had an accessible room. It was me, Grace, Jack and Emily who went, and we had 2 adjoining rooms. The Sequoia Lodge is a nice location in terms of it's quite central, one of the closest hotels to get to the park, so there's less walking. But saying that, the interior is quite run down. It's definitely in need of a renovation, I think. The bedroom itself, so the room that me and Grace had, we had one single bed and then a pair of bunk beds. Yeah, and then the adjoining room had a double bed in it, but it obviously didn't have the accessible bathroom. So to me, the accessible kind of room with the accessible bathroom seemed more like a kid's room, maybe, because of the bunk beds, and the single bed as well. There was room to maybe put a double, and still get your wheelchair around and about and whatnot. But yeah, it seemed more like a kid's bed, and then the adjoining room would have been what I would think as the parents' room, really, with the double bed. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. The room was nice. I just think that the decor is dated a little bit. and just needs a bit of an update. One thing that we did find, which was very annoying, was that there was only one plug socket that we could use. Only one plug socket. So yeah, obviously, in this day and age where people have a lot of things to charge, phones, cameras, laptops, or whatever you may be taking with you, yeah, it's annoying, especially if you have a disability and you need medical equipment charging. Like some people have to take, nebulizers or anything along that line that needs plugging in. So yeah, it's a bit annoying when there's only one plug, really. But the bathroom was acceptable. It had access. The sink was a little bit too high for some people in wheelchairs, but obviously they try and set it at a height where it's kind of an average height for most people. So yeah, we'll move on from the Sequoia Lodge. So what happens here is we go out of the Sequoia Lodge here. So we're onto the lake and we go up this path here. And there are a couple of ramps to go up. They're not too bad. The last one is pretty long and steep. So then we go in front of the New York, we go past the balloon. There's a security checkpoint here. And then we go through Disney Village, past Planet Hollywood, past World of Disney. And then we get here and you've got two choices really. So you can either go left to the Walt Disney Studio Parks, or you can go straight in front towards the Disneyland Hotel and go into Disneyland Park itself. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into Disneyland Park. You actually go underneath the Disney Hotel and you go under it, and the turnstiles are at the back of the hotel. You pop out, you go underneath the railway station here, and then you are on Main Street, USA. Be careful, there is a tram line here, so that can be a bit of a hazard with going over with your casters, but it's not too much of a problem. So, yeah, we've got Main Street, USA, completely accessible. Yeah, so there are a few curbs going up and down places, but there are lower curbs, and yeah, the terrain is nice and flat. Yeah. Buildings wise, there are a few buildings that are a bit tighter to get into, but all of them have wheelchair access. It is also worth noting, depending what time of year you go, depends how busy the park is, and that can impact how easy it is to get around. As I say, all the buildings here are accessible in the whole of Disneyland, and if they don't have a lift, they have ramps and whatnot. So yeah. One thing that I did write down about Cafe Hyperion. Here we go. So you have a cafe underneath this bit, and then you have a stage here and tiered seating inside. So last time we went, we had a quick service breakfast included, and we had to go to the Hyperion to get our breakfast. So as you go in, the cafe is on your left hand side and the seating are on your right hand side. When we went, there was no seating available down on the lowest level, so we therefore had to go up the ramp to one of the tiered sections. The ramps in the Hyperion are ridiculous. They are so steep, so difficult to push up them. And it was just me and Grace. Jack and Emily weren't with us at that point, so we had to ask one of the cast members to help us to carry our breakfast up the ramp, so we could find a table to sit at. So yeah, the cast member had no problem helping us. That was fine. Me being me, I just like to try and do things independently. I think if there were some seats down on the lowest level, negate the problem and make it a little bit easier for most people. So yeah, that is the only bad thing that I can think of for buildings for Disneyland Paris. So dotted throughout the kingdoms are obviously toilets. Everyone needs a toilet. So there aren't accessible toilets around. As always, there aren't as many as regular toilets. That is just the way it is. So yeah, because of the limited number of toilets, you can sometimes have a bit of a wait to go to the toilet. That's just one thing to bear in mind. There are maps available with the toilets located on them, so you can see. There are companion toilets available as well, so just keep an eye out for them for any maps. All the maps are available on Before You Go. If you go down to accessibility and specific needs, and then click on there, and you can find all the maps there. Environment, as I said very generally before, the environment is pretty good, to be fair. There are a few steep bits. So one that pops to mind is Star Tours. It's quite steep going up and down to the building from the Hyperion. So yeah, that's the only one that I can really think of. There are a few more steep bits around in Adventureland, but on the whole, it is pretty good. We are just going to go over here to Walt Disney Studios Parks. So here we have Ratatouille and a bit of a Toy Story land. Okay, so if you go behind the Buzz Lightyear, hello Buzz, good to see you. So if you go behind the Buzz Lightyear, you go down this path here towards the Ratatouille ride in Chez Remy. This path has cobbles on. Okay, it's a gradient going down anyway, but it has cobbles on. There are slabs to the side, either side of the cobbles, but they're only one slab thick, and there's benches or people sit on the walls down there and whatnot. So going down isn't too bad, because obviously you've not got to push over the cobbles. You've got momentum going down. But yeah, the cobbles are a bit of a pain, especially if your balance is bad, like Grace's, and her feet fly about off the footplate because the chair's jumping up and down over the cobbles. So yeah, that is one bit that is, I'm going to say, particularly bad, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not outrageous compared to other places. But for Disneyland, particularly bad. So yeah, that is environment. There's no other places which kind of need mentioning, I don't think. Round here near Haunted Mansion, as I said, is going to be a bit hilly as well. But yeah, on the whole, it's either quite long, gentle slopes, or they tend to be quite short, rather bigger gradients. So yeah, it's nothing that isn't passable. So yeah, well done Disneyland. So attractions, this is where the big thing comes in. So throughout the kingdoms, there are viewing areas for people with disabilities. So in order to get into one of these viewing areas or ride any of the rides, you need to get a green card. So I'm just going to go on here. We're going to go accessibility and specific needs. And we are going to go to visitors with reduced mobility. Access to attractions. So, apologies, it's changed. So it was the green card system, and now it is a priority card or an easy access card. So, it says here, Disneyland Paris issues two different types of access card. Priority card and early access card, which allow disabled guests to access certain attractions via specifically adapted entrances. For further details, please take a look at Disney. So, we will take a look at that map in a second. So, the priority card is for disabled guests, anyone who is officially registered as disabled. So, you do have to provide evidence. You go to City Hall to register onto the system. So, early access card is for guests with temporary disabilities. Again, you will have to provide evidence. So, if we go down here a little bit, documents required to apply for an access card. So, for priority access card, you can have a disability living allowance letter or attendance allowance award dated within the last 12 months from when you visit. PIP letter, personal independence payment letter, dated within the last 12 months. A current valid blue badge, which I find is easy enough just to take rather than finding letters. A letter from your GP or consultant, signed and stamped, again within the last 12 months. Okay, and then for the early access card, which again is for people with temporary disabilities, temporary illnesses or expectant mothers, you need a letter from your GP or consultant dated within the last 3 months. On your card, they will give you an amount of helpers that you're allowed. So, if you go into a viewing area for a show, for example, there were 4 of us in total on our holiday. Obviously, both Grace and I had a priority access card, and then we just had Jack and Emily. So what they did is they put down that we had 2 carers each. So that meant that all of us could go into the viewing areas for the parades together and whatnot. There is a maximum of 4. So for example, if there were 6 of you and 1 person with a disability, then one person would have to stand somewhere else. That is about the access cards that you get. So again, that is priority access or early access card, easy access card. Have I been calling it early access? I probably have. I apologise. Easy access card. So yeah, we're going to go on to the map here and talk about attractions. So we're going to go over to the key here. So this is key to the symbols. So here we go. We have guest relations, Disney character, and meet. Blah blah blah. Accessible toilets for persons with disabilities. So we're going to focus on these. Wheelchair accessible, must be accompanied by an able-bodied person, a thrifty and a raver. Okay. So I have a little bit of a problem with this bit. So Grace and I went with Jack and Emily. Jack and Emily weren't with us. We went off and did our own separate thing. We tried to get on Star Tours. We've been on Star Tours before with other people. And it's literally transferring to a seat, which is basically like a bus seat or a plane seat, anything like that. Grace and I are more than capable of doing that. And we got refused to go on the ride because we weren't accompanied by someone 15 years or older. So, this therefore means that Grace and I, if we wish to go to Disneyland Paris, could not go on our own. We have to take someone with us. We are capable of going on holiday on our own. And it's frustrating when someone turns around and goes, well, yeah, you need someone 15 years or older. I'm sorry, but a 15-year-old who's able-bodied, I'm a big chap, will not be able to help me evacuate from a ride if there's a problem. You know, it's to me, I just get frustrated because that now means that me and Grace cannot go to Disneyland Paris or go on rides in Disneyland Paris on our own. Yeah, it's so frustrating. We have to take other people with us, you know, because they deem it too unsafe for people to go on their own. But on the flip side of that, we go to Disney World in Florida on our own. We went all the way to Florida on our own. We went on all the rides together. There was no question about it. You know? Oh, also in Disneyland Paris, even if we went when we've gone with other people like our family, I have to go on my own with someone, and Grace has to wait, and then Grace goes on after me with someone else. So me and Grace in Paris are never allowed on the ride together. But in Disney World, fine, no problem. That's perfect. You can go on it all on your own, or even together. And then we went to Disneyland this year, California. Yeah, no problem. Go on. Yeah, travelled all the way to California on our own, and then we were allowed to go on rides together, no problem whatsoever. So to me, I don't know why the Paris system is different. To me, it is very frustrating, especially when you have two people who both have disabilities who, want to go on holiday on their own together. It just boggles my mind a little bit. So, let's move on from that, shall we? So, as you can see, what we can do on here is we can look at all the different attractions. Apologies, I called it Cinderella Castle earlier. It's Sleeping Beauty Castle. I'm not even going to try and read that. So it's a dragon in the cave underneath the castle. So you look here at the symbols and look for the ticks. So here we have, you can stay in your wheelchair. You must transfer from your wheelchair. With the character meet and greets with your card, queue to wait, you can ask for a return time. Basically, they'll give you a time to go back and meet the character. That way, you don't have to sit in line. We, for toileting reasons, can't really sit in lines and wait around and whatnot. So at least that gives you the freedom to get a return time. Know, okay, well, to then know, right, we've got to be back there at 2:30, and we will get to see the character. And up to that point, you can go to the toilet beforehand, food, whatever. Transport. Okay, so there's a couple options for transport here. You could fly and then get a train to Disneyland Paris because there's a train station there. That was all right. Flying, I like flying. That's fine. But I think there are better ways to get to Disneyland Paris. There is a Eurotunnel from St Pancras straight to Disneyland. So yeah, that train runs twice a week, 3 times a week, something like that. So the only problem with the Eurotunnel train is that there are only 2 disabled seats that they will sell on the whole train. So Grace and I had a bit of a problem. We got told that we could just sit in a normal seat and store our wheelchair as luggage, and that'd be fine. And then we phoned up to book assistance, and they said no, you can't do that. You have to book disabled accessible seats. Had a back and forth with them and whatnot. We found a alternative, so we had to go to the main station in Paris, and then they paid for a taxi from Paris, from that train station to Disneyland Paris and back when we left, because they messed up. So yeah, that they were helpful there, to be fair to them, and we got it sorted. If you can get the Eurotunnel straight to Disneyland Paris, perfect. It's great. You can even have Disney check-in at the train station. So you just leave your bags there, you get your park tickets, and you go straight into your park, and they'll take your bags to your room. It is an extra fee, but I think it is worth it if you can do that option. Also on the Eurotunnel, Grace and I can't sit together. We have to sit in opposite ends of the train. There are 2 disabled seats in the carriage that you sit in. There's technically 4, if not more. But yeah, we're not allowed to sit in the same carriage for evacuation purposes, apparently. Although on the way out in December we were allowed to, because the toilet was broken in the other carriage. Yeah, weird and wonderful rules that people have, so fabulous. Another option is you could drive those parking at the parks, at the hotels. So, for example, if you were going for a 2-week holiday and you were just doing Disney for a weekend, you could drive. We've never driven, but that is another option. I'm not sure how much parking is, or whether it's included in your hotel cost, but I know people do drive and whatnot. So yeah, those are the different transport options there for you. I personally would go for the Eurotunnel straight to Disneyland Paris, just for ease. It's a nice relaxing ride. I think straight to Disneyland is 3 hours. So yeah, sorted really. You just straight there. And then I would get the Disney Express, leave your bags there, and then go straight into the parks. Make the most of your time there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed already, please do consider subscribing and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any future content. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next time. Bye bye.